Head north.
District Court, testifying for the prosecution in 4 straight trials. The district encompassed 4 counties: York, Cumberland, Oxford, Castle, and of all the...
Turn left for North Parkside Drive. Then immediately turn left onto North Parkside Drive. Turn left onto North Parkside Drive. Then at the next light, you'll turn left.
All the lawmen who served in those counties.
At the light, turn left onto West Washington Street.
When Pangborn had the furthest to travel. The 3 district judges therefore tried as best they could to schedule his court cases in bunches, so we would have to make the trip only once or twice a month. This made it possible for him to actually spend some time in the county which he had sworn to protect, instead of on the roads between Castle Rock and Portland.
Use the right lane to take the Arizona 202 Loop West ramp.
But it also...
Continue for 3/4 of a mile.
After one of his court days, he felt like a high school kid stumbling out of the auditorium where he had just taken the Scholastic Aptitude tests. He should have known better than to drink on top of that, but Harry Cross...
In half a mile, use the right lane to take the Arizona 202 Loop West ramp to Phoenix.
And George Crompton had just been on their way down to the Blue Door, and they had insisted that Alan join them. There had been a good enough reason to do so, a string of clearly related burglaries which had occurred in all their areas. But the real reason he had gone was the one most bad decisions have in common. It had seemed like a good idea at the time. Now he sat behind the wheel of what had been the family car, reaping what he had sown of his own free will. His head ached gently. He felt more than a touch of nausea, but the depression was the worst. It was back with a vengeance. "Hello!" it cried merrily from its stronghold inside his head. "Here I am, Alan. Good to see you. Guess what? Here it is, end of a long, hard day, and Annie and Todd are still dead. Remember the Saturday afternoon when Todd spilled his milkshake on the front seat? Right under where your briefcase is now, wasn't it? And you shouted at him? Wow! Didn't forget that, did you?"
Use the right lane to take the Arizona 202 Loop West ramp. Continue for a 1/4 mile.
Well, that's okay, Alan, because I'm here to remind you, and remind you, and remind you. He lifted his briefcase and looked fixedly.
Continue on Arizona 202 for 3 miles.
Yes, the stain was there, and yes, he had shouted at Todd. "Todd, why do you always have to be so clumsy?" Something like that, no big deal, but not the sort of thing you would ever say if you knew your kid had less than a month to live. It occurred to him that the beers weren't the real problem. It was this car, which had never been properly cleaned out. He had spent the day riding with the ghosts of his wife and his younger son. He leaned over and popped the glove compartment to get his citation book. Carrying that, even when he was headed down to Portland to spend the day testifying in court, was an unbreakable habit, and reached inside.
In 2 miles, take exit 1C for 32nd Street.
Struck some tubular object, and it fell out onto the floor of the station wagon with a little thump. He put his citation book on top of his briefcase and then bent over to get whatever it was he had knocked out of the glove compartment. He held it up so it caught the glow of the arc sodium light and stared at it for a long time, feeling the old dreadful ache of loss and sorrow steal into him. Polly's arthritis was in her hands. His, it seemed, was in his heart, and who could say which of them had gotten the worst of it? The can had belonged to Todd, of course. Todd, who would have undoubtedly lived in the Auburn novelty shop if he had been allowed. The boy had been entranced with the cheap jack arcana sold there. Joy buzzers, sneezing powder, dribble glasses, soap.
In half a mile, take exit 1C for 32nd Street.
Hands to the color of volcanic ash, plastic dog turds. This thing is still here. 19 months they've been dead, and it's still here. How in hell did I miss it?
Take exit 1C.
Alan turned the round can over in his hands, remembering how the boy had pleaded to be allowed to buy this.
In a quarter mile, use any lane to turn right onto North 32nd Street.
Buy this particular item with his allowance money. How Alan himself had demurred, quoting his own father's proverb, "The fool and his money soon part."
Turn right onto North 32nd Street.
And how Annie had overruled him in her gentle way. Listen to you, Mr. Amateur Magician, sounding like a Puritan. I love it. Where do you think he got this insane love of gags and tricks in the first place? No one in my family ever kept a framed picture of Houdini on the wall, believe me. Do you want to tell me you didn't buy a dribble glass or two in the hot, wild days of your youth? That you wouldn't have just about died to own the old snake in the can of nuts trick if you'd come across one in a display case somewhere? He, hemming and hawing, sounding more and more like a pompous stuffed shirt wind